ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we are at chapter 4. Last time we stopped at 4.23, 24 I just read through and I did not explain it because I told you that it refers to the next part of Krishna is introducing a particular concept which he is going to elaborate in the next till the end of the class, till the end of the chapter. So we go to 4.22 just for a recap. And I am reading only the translation of the shloka. Is everyone there?
Yeah.
He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled although performing actions. 4.22, chapter 4, verse number 22. So a person who wants to change karma into a karma. Everything that they perform, I described the three types of karma that are there. Karma which is good actions, vikarma is bad actions that is against the four pillars of dharma, and then something called akarma which doesn't give us any material entanglement or any material reactions, sinful reactions, right? And Krishna starts presenting how that any karma, any activity that we do other than vikarma can be transformed into a karma or devotional service unto him, right? So in 4.17 to 4.23, Krishna, he kind of gives a whole gist of it. He says that how we have to bring Krishna's pleasure into the main, as the main goal of everything that we do, and the secret can be learned from Krishna's devotees. This is also there. And then 4.18 he says about inaction in action and action in inaction. That person who thinks that just by not doing anything I'll simply get rid of all the reactions. But he will also have to eat, he will have to breathe. That's also an activity. A person who can understand that by doing everything normally I will still not get any material reactions. That is what I have to strive for, because activity I cannot negate. Desires I cannot negate. There is no point of time when anyone can become desireless. Even to become desireless is also a desire. So what can you do? Can you become desireless? You can't. Activity is inevitable, right? But activity in Krishna consciousness is best, because that will take us out of this material existence. And then Krishna in 4.19, he says, I told you the story of Pundrik Vidyanidhi, that how a person is doing everything normally, but everyone can misjudge him. They can think that, oh, this person is materialistic. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is this great merchant, Pundrik Vidyanidhi, who's actually Vrishabhanu. Vrishabhanu, do you know who's Vrishabhanu? He's Radharani's father in Krishna Leela. He comes back in Chaitanya Leela as Pundrik Vidyanidhi. And actually, very lovingly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would call Pundrik Vidyanidhi as Premanidhi. That is Premanidhi Prabhu's name. And then in 4.20, Krishna says, you give up your attachment, and then you become a sadhak, means you endeavor for perfection. 4.21, we read about Siddha, perfection of consciousness, and I gave you 9 points which I put up on the board. How, when someone with perfect consciousness, how can you identify someone with perfect consciousness? Number 1, he acts with mind. 4.21 and 22 both have these full 9 points. Acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled. It's a natural outcome of those who are in Krishna consciousness. Number 2, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions. He does not give up everything. He gives up the sense of proprietorship, that this is mine, I'm going to hold on. That brings anger, that brings fear, that brings, all the downfall. But simply, if you don't have attachment, if you don't have that sense of proprietorship, then you're Krishna conscious. Acts only for bare necessities of life. Number 4, he is not affected by sinful reactions. Number 5, he who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, means there's no over endeavor. Number 6, who is free from duality, and success and failure are included in that. Number 7, does not envy. Number 8, who is steady in both success and failure. Number 9, is never entangled although performing actions like a normal person. And then these are the signs of a highly advanced devotee who considers himself insignificant. He thinks, my activities, why should I give so much importance to my activities? I simply have to think of serving Krishna. He is more important. His pleasure, his satisfaction is what is most important to me. And such a devotee always depends on Krishna. So here at this 4.23 is what I am reading. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of own accord. I gave you this in one of the 9 points. So I am reading 23 now. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Means that person is not of this world anymore. He is on a different platform. Right? Premanidhi Prabhu always gives this particular example. He says, if it's raining and you don't want to get wet, what will you do? You remember this? We were discussing it.
You go above the clouds.
Yeah, you go above the clouds. Because even if you take an umbrella, still your feet gets wet. Even if you take like a wind sheeter, but still, if there's heavy storm, and sometimes even if you decide to stay at home, thinking that I don't want to get wet, but still there's storms which swipe, houses away. There's no, but if you rise above the clouds, that's a transcendental platform. You take your consciousness so high up that nothing affects you. You see everything from a very high level, a very high state. So that is merging into transcendence. Believing that you are the soul and everything which is acting is just on the level of my body or on a mental plane. It doesn't touch the soul. In fact, even sinful reactions don't touch the soul. They simply affect the gross body or at the most the mind. They cannot touch the soul. So 24th, can we do it? And then we'll do like a marathon, quick 25 to 42, we go on reading and then we come back. 24th, please repeat after me. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina. Everyone will read the translation. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. That means who is the one who involves in Krishna, who does devotional service? Is it the body? Is it the mind? Is it the intelligence? Or is it the soul? Yeah, because the benefit is for the soul. The soul is going to be awakened. So the person, the consummation is absolute. What is consummation? I looked it up in the dictionary. I forgot the meaning of it. Is that consummation?
The point at which something is complete or finalized, the consummation of a sale, the action of making a marriage or relationship complete.
Consummation. Yeah, so it means it's complete. Means everything that which is offered, the very spirit soul is offering himself to Krishna. It's a complete thing. That means wherever you belong to, you're doing that again. Again, the devotional service is actually the constitutional position or the original position of the soul, not the material world. So it's simply coming back to where we belong. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities. He's again doing what he wanted, what he used to do in the spiritual world. He's not serving his ego, his senses, his materialistic desires anymore. He's serving Krishna. So he's fit to come back to the spiritual world. So the activities also that you're doing. So how does karma become akarma? When Krishna is involved, everything becomes spiritual. Yeah, this iPad, this book, this page, everything, when it's used for Krishna, it becomes spiritual. This classroom is spiritual because it's being used for a spiritual activity. Right? Even relationships, a husband and wife relationship, a parent-child relationship can be spiritual if we keep Krishna in the center. Right? So is there a distinguish now that no, this is material, this is spiritual? No. In fact, Rupa Goswami, he was a great, today is his brother's birthday actually, Sanatan Goswami. That's why in Vrindavan also they celebrate Guru Purnima, because Sanatan Goswami is the Guru of Vrindavan Dham. And everyone would, he would every day take parikrama of, Govardhan, which is 22 kilometers. Every single day, even in his old age, he would take parikrama. In fact, there are devotees who also have this pastime. They say that Krishna literally came in the form of a covered boy and told him that now you're very old, now you can't do it every day. And he gave him a small Govardhan Shila, told him that, a small Shila from, if you go around it, it's as good as taking parikrama of Govardhan. That Shila is still there in Radha Damodar temple. If you ever go to Vrindavan, if you ask anyone for Radha Damodar temple, they'll take you there. And that Shila is still there. It's kept in that temple. So if in that Radha Damodar temple, if someone is invalid, is not able to take the original Govardhan parikrama, which is 22 kilometers, it's huge. Sometimes we cover it in 2 days. Yeah. We go to a certain spot and then we come back to the rooms, to the hotels, and then we go to the same spot again, and then I'm trying. It's in Mayapur, no? Vrindavan, the devotees going to Vrindavan? No, we're going to Mayapur. No, that's November, Kartik. This time it's Kartik. Otherwise, usually it's December. I don't know, this time it's Kartik. Anyway, so here this Sanatan Goswami, then he would take parikrama. So in Radha Damodar temple, if you take parikrama of that temple 5 times, it's as good as a Govardhan parikrama. You get the same benefit. How did I go there? With Guru. Sanatan Goswami, the brother of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami, he uses this particular term called Yukta Vairagya. Write that name on the board. 4.24. I've mentioned this before, I don't know if it was in this class. There are 2 Vairagya. There's Markat Vairagya. The spelling okay?
Yeah, Markat.
You know what a Markat means? Markat means a monkey. He explains 2 types of renunciations or sacrifices. Vairagya means renouncing. There's one called Yukta Vairagya, one called Markat Vairagya. Those who are, been beaten up by their material desires, who've been beaten up, by this material nature, they want to renounce it. The relationships have given them so much pain, and the material desires, their own expectations, their own attachments have given them so much pain that by the time they just want to give up everything. Just like the monkey, when he tastes the grapes and it's sour, what does he do? Throws it away. That's Markai Vairagya, Rupa Goswami says. He said, you have to learn the art of using everything in Krishna's service. That is Yukta Viragya. Means whatever you have, learn the art of using that for Krishna's service, because everything belongs to Krishna. Then why can't it be used in his service? Right? Here Prabhupada uses a beautiful analogy. It's there in the purport. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
For example, the patient
Yeah, in the ninth line of the purport. For example, a patient, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Just read it along with me. For example, a patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products. You get indigestion. Yeah, what happens is cured by another milk product, namely curds. So that same milk or milk product which gives us indigestion, that same another byproduct of milk, which is curds, can solve that very problem of indigestion. Right? So Krishna is saying that same material things which you see as material, if you use it for Krishna's service, what happens? Those same very things will purify you instead of entangling you. Right? You can either get entangled or you can get purified by using it in Krishna's service. So the same thing. The materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness as set forth here in the Gita. The process is generally known as yajna or activities, sacrifices, simply meant for satisfaction of Vishnu or Krishna. So from this point I'll stop, and so here I've written devotees, they sacrifice what? Everything. This is Yukta Vairagya. For what? Satisfaction of Krishna. So now Krishna is going to, he's going to elaborate that how many types of sacrifices different people do. Yeah? After stopping at the point giving it the ideal sacrifice, and he says that other than this, there are many other different types of sacrifices which have different ingredients, different types of people do it. Right? So we're going to have 3 sections. Every time when we're just going through now, second time when we come back and we elaborate, we'll fill up this table. I've just given 3-4 examples and then we'll go on with it. So first is, when Krishna introduces, he says devotees, what is the ingredient they offer in sacrifice? Everything that they have. For what? Satisfaction of fire. Satisfaction of Krishna. That is the fire. In the fire we offer everything. Usually in a yajna, if you think now you think of this is a yajna, this is a fire sacrifice, a devotee will offer everything that they have. Next, what does a fruitive worker or a materialistic person who wants material gains, what does he do? He offers some of his material possessions. For what? For demigod worship, because he knows that I want material enjoyment. So some of if they have a yajna at home, then they offer some fruits, some rice, some grains and a lot of ghee. Now that it's like an expense. Yeah, for what? Material gains. So you understood this table? Now we're going to go this way. Before that we'll read 25 to 42 and then we'll come back. We'll take turns for the translations. Maybe Anshul, you can start with the translation. We'll do the shloka together. Daivamevapare yagyam yoginah pariupasate brahmagnavapare yagyam yajnanaivopajhuvati. Translation.
Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahma.
Next, we'll come back for elaboration. 26. Shrotrādinindriyānyanye samyamagnishu jhuvati Shabdadin Vishayan Anya Indriyagni Shujuvati.
Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses.
Next. Sarvanindriya karmani.
Sarvanindriya karmani.
Prana karmani chapare.
Prana karmani chapare.
Atma samyama yogagnau.
Atma samyama yogagnau.
Juvati jnana deepate.
Juvati jnana deepate.
Translation. Ruma.
Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind.
Dravya yajnastapo yajna.
Dravya yajnastapo yajna.
Yoga yajnastatapare.
Yoga yajnastatapare.
Swadhyaya jnana yajnascha.
Swadhyaya jnana yajnascha.
Yatayah samshitavrataah.
Yatayah samshitavrataah.
Kavita.
Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge.
Apane juvati pranam.
Apane juvati pranam.
Pranipanam tatha pare.
Pranipanam tatha pare.
Pranapanagati ruddhva.
Pranapanagati ruddhva.
Pranayama parayanah.
Pranayama parayanah.
Apare nityataharah.
Apare nityataharah.
Pranan praneshu jhuvati.
Pranan praneshu jhuvati.
Still others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, practice by offering the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming and incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Others, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice.
This is like pranayam process. Sarve pete yajnavido. Yajnaksha pitakalmashaha. Yajna shishtamrita bhujo. Yanti brahma sanatanam. Translation.
All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reactions, and having tasted the nectar of the results of sacrifices, they advance toward the supreme adornment of master.
Now it's a very small one. Nayam lokosta yagyasya. Kutonya kuru sattama.
O best of Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next?
32nd. Evam bahuvidha yajna. Vitata brahmano mukhe. Karmajan vidhitan sarvan. Evam nyatva vimokshase. Back to Deepika.
All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated.
Next. Shreyan dravyamayad yajnaj. Jnana yajnah parantapa. Sarvam karmakhilam partha. Jnane parisamapyate.
O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possession. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge.
Yeah, now what does he do? He's trying to tell which one is the best. He's given all the different types of sacrifices. Now he's making a judgment. Which is the least, which is the best. He's given all options available to us. 34. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha.
Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth.
Yajñātvā na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanya sheshani drakshasyatmanyatho mayi drakshasyatmanyatho mayi. Very good.
Having obtained real knowledge from the self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, they are mine.
Right. Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakrittamah sarvam jnanaplavenaiva vrijinam santarishyasi.
Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the post of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries.
Yathaidhamsi samidhognir bhasmasat kuruterjuna jnanagnihi sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha.
As a blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities.
Right. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram niha vidyate tat swayam yoga samsiddhah kalinatmani vindati. Mataji.
In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in the due course of time.
Shraddhava labhate jnanam tatpara samyatendriyah jnanam labdhva param shantim achirenādigacchati.
A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace.
Right. 40th verse. Agnyascha shraddhadanascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam loko asti na paro na sukham samshayatmanah.
Mataji, this that one word I really can't pronounce.
Which one?
The first one.
Agnyascha shraddhadanascha nascha. Whose turn is it? Shan.
but ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next.
Second last verse. Yoga sanyasta karmanam Jnana sanchinna samshayam Atmavantam na karmani Nibhadnanti dhananjaya. Bhairavi.
One who acts in devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions and whose doubts have been destroyed by transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reactions of world. 4.0 of reaches.
Tasmadajnana sambhutam Hritstam jnanasinatmanah Chitvainam samshayam yogam Atishthotishta Bharata.
Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.
Right. Let's fight. Chapter 4, verse number 25. Back. Please repeat. We start the part of sacrifices. Where Krishna is asking Arjun, he's giving a lot of options of what all things can you sacrifice, for what, and what do you get back. And in the end, he gives what is the best. Daivameva pare yagyam Yoginaha pariupasate Brahmagnava pare yagyam Yagyanaivopajuhvati. Can all of us say the translation? Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. So there are two types of sacrifices mentioned here. One, who worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them. Now they, in the purport, Prabhupada calls them as fruit workers. Because when you offer something to sacrifice to demigods, when you want something in return. That's why they are fruit workers. Yeah, but Krishna calls them yogis. He's saying because they are sacrificing something, they are yogis. Rather than not doing anything at all, this is somewhere better. Yeah. So here, I'm reading the purport. Prabhupada has written few lines about it. As described above, a person engaged in discharging duties in Krishna consciousness is also called a perfect yogi or a first class mystic. That he said in 24. Yeah, now in 25 he is giving us options. But there are also others who perform similar sacrifices in worship of demigods. Yeah, now he is giving us a summary of the entire till 42. What is there? Number 1, worship of demigods. Still others who sacrifice to the Supreme Brahman. Now what is that? What is Supreme Brahman? This is the second part of the shloka. The Supreme Lord, it is there in Vishnu Puran. There is this shloka. Yad vadanti tat tattvavidas. Forgot. It's there in chapter 2. That verse is given. You can open chapter 2, verse number, where Krishna speaks for the first time, 2.2. Vadanti, when there is Sri Bhagwan Uvacha, the verse starts with. Is there? 2.2. 2.2. It starts with Sri Bhagwan Uvacha, Kutastva. In that, there is, in the purport, there is one small shloka. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvat yat jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdhyate. Now see the translation of it. Can you find it? In the big book it is page 69. I don't know small one.
It's 81.
Small one it's 81. Can everyone see that shloka? It's from, it's here, it's written Srimad Bhagavatam, it's also there in Vishnu Puran. The absolute truth is realized in 3 phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth. All of them are identical. Such phases means they belong to the Supreme Lord only. But some people approach the Brahman, some people approach the Paramatma, some people approach the Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord himself. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. Now this is given in order of superiority. Yeah. Then in the next line there is a beautiful analogy. These 3 divine aspects can be explained with the example of the sun. I'm reading ahead, which also has 3 different aspects, namely sunshine, the sun's surface and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student, right? Because everyone can see the sunshine. Even a child can see a sunshine. They can understand what sunshine is. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced. That means one who understands that the sunshine is coming from that surface, that person understands more. And one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest, because he'll understand everything. He'll meet the person, Vivasvan, as we studied in 4th chapter, who is the in charge of the sun planet. Will he know the sunshine? Will he know the sun's surface?
Yeah.
And then he knows the person also. Same way, Brahman is the supreme effulgence. The effulgence or the body glow of the Supreme Lord, which is evaporating, which is all over, all pervading. Sorry, not evaporating. It's all pervading. Correct? Now this, when the yogis, when they practice a lot of mystical yoga, the first vision out of this material that they get. Now suppose if you're out of the tunnel, the first thing which hits your eyes is bright light. You can't see anything else. So the yogis, if they have any spiritual experience, the first experience they get is of this light. In Ishopanishad, similarly it is mentioned that, a devotee is praying in Ishopanishad that is there, that please my Lord, remember, just remove this glaring effulgence from my eyes so that I can see your personal form. This is there in Ishopanishad. That means that glaring effulgence is the Brahman, or if you compare to the sun, it's the sunshine. A lot of times there's so much sunshine that you can't even see the surface of the sun. Then you have to pray to the Supreme Lord that please remove this effulgence from my, which is, just glaring my eyes. And then, what is the second form? What is higher than that? The sun's surface, or the Paramatma who is there in each and every living entity's heart. That's a higher knowledge. Yogis who reach that platform are higher than those who are on the Brahman platform. And finally, not only remembering the Lord in your heart, but you can see the Lord face to face, and then you can directly offer Him some service, some devotional service. That is the highest. That is the Bhagwan platform. So we come back to our verse 2.20, 25. 4.25, sorry. 4.25. So here there are people who offer sacrifices to demigods. There are people who offer sacrifices to the Supreme Brahman, to that effulgence of the Lord. So these are the first 2 which are mentioned here. Now Prabhupada, just please read this part. After pursuit of transcendental knowledge, those who are in Krishna consciousness sacrifice all material possessions. Can you find it? It's around about the 10th or the 11th line. 11th line, I think it is. Those who are in Krishna consciousness sacrifice all material possessions for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, while others who want some temporary material happiness sacrifice their material possessions to satisfy demigods such as Indra, the sun god, etc. Others who are impersonalists sacrifice their identity by merging into the existence of the impersonal Brahman. So I've not put those but impersonalists here. And this is verse number 4.24. This is 4.25. Now again, 4.25. Who is mentioned here? The impersonalists. Why they are impersonalists? Because they don't identify the Lord as a person. So they are called as impersonalists. Sometimes they are also called as Mayavads, because they think that the Lord's body is a product of Maya. So they called as Mayavads also. We'll be doing, there's a whole module on Mayavad. Sometime we'll do. We're still making it. Impersonalists, what do they sacrifice?
That they'll merge into God.
Yeah. What is the ingredient? What do they sacrifice? Their individual existence.
How they sacrifice? They never believe in individual existence. Yeah.
They think individual existence is till the time you are in Maya. You can get merged with the Lord. That's what they think, but it's not possible. Now, like the airplane, Prabhupada gives the example of an airplane. When the airplane takes off, and it's almost like it merges with the sky, then you can't see it anymore. Right? But still the plane is there. And what happens after some time? It leads to land. Can it forever be there? No. So these people, they're so fed up of material existence that they just want Shanti, Moksha, liberation. This is called merging into impersonal Brahman. What is their fire then? Because when you go to the Brahman, the material miseries can't touch you. Yeah? But the nature of the soul is to love, to serve, to be active. So then they have to come back to the material platform, because the need for action will bring them down again. Their desires will be there. So then you can't stay in the Brahman platform. You have to come back to the material world. You can't survive. Maybe for millions of years it will be like a sleep state. But then when the soul again, he feels the need to be loved, to love someone, to serve someone. Because by nature the soul is like that. Then they'll come down again. Desires will come again. Right? So this is a temporary platform. It's Brahman. Can we go to the next shloka? Is it clear? Please repeat. Shrota Shrotaadinindriyanyanye Indriyanyanye Samyamagnishu jhuvati Shabdadin Vishayananya Indriyagnishu jhuvati. Everyone together. Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in fire of mental control. And others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. Now there are two. Now in Varnashram we have brahmachari. It's there in the purport. We'll read the purport itself. The members of 4 divisions of human life, namely the brahmachari, the grihastha, the vanaprastha and sannyasi, are all meant to become perfect yogis or transcendentalists. Since human life is not meant for enjoying sense gratification like the animals, human life means going back to Godhead. That's a greatest chance to go back to Godhead. Sense gratification means anyways in the animal bodies we've been doing that. Why do that again in human life? Human life is a greater platform to go back to the spiritual world. So human life is not meant for enjoying sense gratification like the animals. The 4 orders of human life are so arranged that one may become perfect in spiritual life. Brahmacharis, what do? Students under the care of bona fide spiritual master control the mind by abstaining from sense gratification. Right? They don't indulge in normal material things. They're supposed to study. Correct? Study and hear from their guru. So what do they sacrifice? The adulterated brahmacharis, they sacrifice their hearing process. By keeping their senses under control, they are as good as sacrificing their senses. For what? For mental control. Yeah? Can I read ahead? A brahmachari hears only words concerning Krishna consciousness. Hearing is the basic principle for understanding. And therefore the pure brahmachari engages fully in Harer Namanu Kirtanam, chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. He restrains himself from vibrations of material sounds, like movie songs and all these. They are very contaminating. Actually they increase your sensual behavior. and his hearing is engaged in the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Now who are the opposites of brahmacharis? Those who get married, householders or grihasthas. What about them? Means they're pure. Unadulterated means impure. They're supposed to be. Otherwise they're not called brahmacharis. Why is it mentioned? I don't know. Prabhupada mentions it here. Unadulterated brahmacharis. The other brahmacharis are adulterated or what? There are different types of brahmacharis.
Householders life, they are called unadulterated.
Yeah, anyone who's leading. Actually, there are different types of brahmacharya. One who just doesn't get married, but he's working in a normal, business, this, that, but they just don't get married. But they're doing the other normal things. They're also sometimes called as brahmacharya. But those who live under the guru and they follow everything in the adult, everything that the guru says. But I'll ask Premnidhi Prabhu again. Remind me. Yeah. And who are the opposites of brahmacharis? Grihasthas. Yeah, they get married, but that doesn't mean it's not license. You can be only with one wife, correct? So here Prabhupada is saying similarly the householders who have some license for sense gratification perform such acts with great restraint. Yeah, also there are timings and also there are very lot of rules and regulations basically. Sex life, intoxication and meat eating are general tendencies of human society. But the animals are not doing that. They're not getting intoxicated. But a regulated householder does not indulge in unrestricted sex life and other sense gratification. Marriage on the principles of religious life is therefore current in all civilized human society. Because that is the way for restricted sex life. When you already accept one partner, that itself is a restriction. Being loyal to one partner, that itself is a restriction. So then the objects of the senses, by keeping it in a regulated way, you're giving the objects to the senses, and in that way you're practicing sense control. So this is how the grihasthas also do yajna. That's also yajna, that's also a sacrifice. Krishna is writing it here, saying it here. Yeah? So we'll stop at this point. There are 10 minutes left. Now we can do one more verse. Sarvanindriya karmani prana karmani chapare atma samyama yogagnau Jhuvati Jnana Deepite. Now you all have to do the fill in the blanks. I won't write. Okay. We'll read the translation together? Start. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into fire of the controlled mind. So now who's here? Others. Who are these others? Yogis. Prabhupada mentions they are called Patanjali yogis. Patanjali yoga is a particular process. Yeah? The yoga system conceived by Patanjali, that's a name of a muni, name of a yogi, is referred to herein. In the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, the soul is called Pratyagatma and Paragatma. As long as soul is attached to sense enjoyment, it is called Paragatma. And once it's pure, it is Pratyagatma. Yeah? So what do they offer? What is their ingredient? Can you read?
The senses and the life breath.
They offer functions of all senses. So they are offering two things. Number one, functions of all senses, and what?
Life breath.
Life breath. Is that clear? That's there in the translation itself. Into what? Fire of the
Control.
So what's their goal? Can I write mind control? Mental control, mind control. In the purport, Prabhupada writes a little bit detail about what exactly is Patanjali Yoga. Maybe if you all are curious, you all can read that. Dravya yajna stapo yajna yoga yajna tatha pare Swadhyaya jnana yajnascha yatayah samshita vrataha. Translation, everyone. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Yeah. So now there are three types of yajnas here mentioned. Number one, having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions. That's number one. Number two, performing severe austerities by practice of Ashtang Yoga, eightfold. Ashta is eight. Eightfold mysticism is also called Ashtang Yoga. And number three, studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Yeah. So here there is a Dravyamaya Yajna. Dravya means material possessions. You're offering that. I'm just writing in who section, I don't know what to write. Who's offering? Others. Some. Okay, let me refill the other ones.
Yogis
Some kind of. Yeah, they'll be yogis. Krishna is calling everyone a yogi. It's too sweet. What do? The ingredient is strict vows. Is that right? What's their fire? Sorry, this should be strict vows and sacrificing their possessions. Sacrificing their possessions could also be charity. Here Prabhupada is writing, can I read? These sacrifices may be fitted into various divisions. There are persons who are sacrificing their possessions in form of various kinds of charities. In India, the rich mercantile community or princely orders open various kinds of charitable institutions like Dharmshala, Annakshetra, Athitishala, Anathalaya and Vidyapit. In other countries too, there are many hospitals, old age homes, similar charitable foundations meant for distributing food, education and medical treatment free to the poor. All these charitable activities are called Dravyamaya Yajna. So can I write Dravyamaya Yogis? Means they are doing something tangible for others. Dravyamaya Yogis, they observe strict vows themselves or they give away in charity. Now these require huge investments. They projects by themselves to maintain, to run, to fund. So it's sacrificing a huge thing.
It's mentioned about Chaturmas.
Why are they doing all this, you know?
Why?
Why are they doing all this?
higher planets.
It's written there. There are others who are for higher elevation in life or for promotion to higher planets within the universe, voluntarily accept many kinds of austerities such as Chandrayana and Chaturmas. Chaturmas begins today. You can actually make a lot of spiritual growth also in these 4 months, Chaturmas. July to October.
There's an example also.
Does not eat certain foods, does not eat twice in a day, does not leave home. Such sacrifice of comforts is called Tapomai Yajna. These are particular strict vows. Now one I told you example of charity, and there's a particular example of strict vows, means following the Chaturmas vows. Yeah, particular, they eat only once or something like that.
So they follow the dates or the month?
Months, 4 months. 4
Why
months.
started from today, July? It's 3rd today.
That's English calendar.
Sabbath is also started, na? Then the Gujarati said. I mean, it's not date, it's the theme. Not date. Every year it won't come on second.
English calendar and the calendar.
The calendar is different.
Is that okay? This part? And then, who are others? By performing severe austerities, practicing yoga of eightfold mysticism. Can I erase this part?
Yeah.
So what is the Brahmanic yogis? The fire is what?
What's their fire? Elevation to higher planets. I'm writing 8 here, because it's after the 7th one. Severe austerities. Now I'm writing Ashtang Yogi here. Ashtang Yoga is also called as Hatha Yoga. Hatha, H-A-T-H-A.
Why is he saying that Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by any of these above mentioned sacrifices?
Because they're not pleasing Krishna. They're not pleasing Krishna by all this. Elevation to higher planets doesn't please Krishna. You're still in the material world. Mystical power. These things sometimes, they entangle you so much.
They want to get for some.
No, not these. These particular ones. The basic thing is, what is your fire? What's your goal? Is it pleasing yourself? Is it mystical powers for yourself? It will not help Krishna in any way. Krishna is Yogeshwar. How does it please Krishna? What's your motivation? 9th? I forgot. What did I say? I'll read it. There are others who engage themselves in the studies of different Vedic literature, especially Upanishads and Vedanta Sutras or the Sankhya philosophy. All of these are called Swadhyaya Yajna, or engagement in sacrifice of studies. So ingredient is Padhai, studies of Upanishads, can I write etc.? It's there in the purport. Yeah. Who is this? They are called Swadhyay. Spelling is right? I'm writing Swadhyay Yogis, their studies of Upanishads. And for what? For these people can also be called as Gyanis. All these yogis are faithfully engaged in different types of sacrifice and are seeking a higher status of life. Krishna consciousness, however, is different from these because it is direct service of Supreme Lord. Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by any one of the above mentioned types of sacrifice, but can be attained only by the mercy of the Lord and His bona fide devotees.